Vinyl Venturers, it's that time of year. The crispness is in the air, the pumpkin spice is being sold, and it's our favorite time of year, and we've never done a Halloween show. And some of us are taking it just a little more seriously than others.
Boo!
The old classics.
The old classics. You can't beat the old classics. I know it's me.
It's John. Everybody settle down. It's Wheels.
Welcome, Vinyl Gang. We've got a great show coming at you. Halloween playlist and, just
spooky, scary band names and
you name it.
Artists, all of it. We've never really done a proper Halloween show.
Yeah, so this is fun. It's a chance for us to parade out some stuff we don't normally parade out.
Yeah.
And talk about some bands that are not really always on our radar.
Right.
But this time of year, they are.
Well, just don't scare me with one of those again.
I won't.
Please promise me.
How'd you like my butter knife?
Yeah,
it was really scary.
He was threatening to butter my toast earlier.
That's a different show. I think we do that show in June.
Oh. Yeah, one of those months. Anyway, we want all of you guys to enjoy all of the video feasts that you can dig into on our YouTube channel. So please go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and then also when you see us on social media, being Instagram, Facebook, and any other place that Jacob may put things in our name, please comment. Please have a back and forth with us. We've really gotten a lot of comments on our recent shorts, and we love it because it's
fun.
It's a nice back and forth, and most of them are nice, right?
Yeah.
Most of them are nice.
Most of them are nice.
And you've got a very nice haircut, speaking of nice.
Yeah. See? Look at that. It's all cut off.
Yeah, it's all cut off for the next couple months.
Yeah.
But do all those things because I'm just starting to feel that momentum, that communication momentum that we're starting.
Yeah, it's fun. We like going back and forth with you guys, and we love when we put up a list that you're like, you left this out. We appreciate it.
We're going to leave things out,
yeah,
for sure, and put them in the wrong order. But we are talking Halloween playlists, spooky, scary band names and artists. What is the first thing that you thought of when we talked about doing this?
I have a lot of collections,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm covered on Halloween. I've got a lot of collections with not only psychobilly bands, which kind of fall on that Halloween,
mm-hmm.
and goth bands.
Right.
They're very Halloween vampire based, so
right.
blood based. So
yeah.
There's a lot of Halloween.
Damn it! I just thought of a record, a damned record I should have brought.
Oh yeah, I mean there's. I can go through my collection, and before I even get to the C's, I probably have 10.
That's good. That's great. Well, what is your first one that you're bringing and showing us? I will remove the Vinyl Ventures record.
First on the list is a little band called 45 Grave. And don't take this...
Sounds scary.
Yeah, it's scary. Don't take this offensive, but the lead singer's name is Diana Cancer.
Okay.
Not really PC anymore. They started in LA, of course. There was a huge kind of goth, almost underground vampire-like band scene
mm-hmm.
in that LA scene in the early 80s. So they started in 79, broke up in 85. And they only have 2 full-length albums. This is the one to get. I mean, you look at the rundown. You have songs Evil. That's
hard to read.
Yeah, it's hard to read.
Sorry, Jake. I'm going to pick this up. Party Time, Insurance from God, Phantoms, 45 Grave, Violent World, Bad Love, Surf Bat, Processor, Slice of Life, Dream Hits 2. That wasn't in order.
Yeah.
So
Sleep in Safety, 45 Grave. There they are, sleeping in safety. So they were they broke up not long after 6 years. But in those days, that was a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, bands stay together for centuries now.
Yeah. And they only had what, 2 singles maybe?
How's Diana doing?
She's still, of course, like any old band, they reformed.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
They've done a reunion?
Yeah.
Oh, is she still dying of cancer?
She is.
She's really milking that. Wouldn't it be ironic if, well, I won't even say it.
Yeah, so
how did you hear about these guys? I mean, I've never heard of them.
Well, there's not a lot out there about them. They were probably on one of the other collections I have, and I'm like, ooh, I like this band. So
that's a great thing about collections, those off-kilter mashups of different songs by bands on similar record labels.
Yeah, and I've said it a bunch of times. That was in the 80s. That was one of the best ways to discover new music.
Yeah.
Without
having
dipping your toe into the full album.
Right. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'll have to keep an eye out for them.
45 Grave.
45 Grave. Well, my first one is a band I'm still undecided about, but fits the theme. It's Ghost, and this is Popestar. And this was actually released in 2016. It's the second EP that they released, and there's one original song on this, Square Hammer, and then the rest are songs by Nocturnal Me, by Echo and the Bunnymen, I Believe by Simeon Mobile Disco, Missionary Man by Eurythmics, which is a cool version, and a song called Bible by a band called Imperiette. And these guys, the first time I saw them, I think it was in 2017, they opened for Iron Maiden.
Ooh, that's a good bill.
And it was. I mean, I hadn't really heard much of them at that point, so I was a little ill-prepared. But, yeah, to open for Iron Maiden, that's a huge thing. And I really think it did their career well, because they've just, like, shot straight up since then.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that I know in vinyl groups pop up often.
Yeah.
And people seem to, I know at record shows, you'll see people picking up Ghost records all the time.
Yeah. And the guy behind Ghost is a guy named Tobias Forge. They're a Swedish band. He plays a different character as time goes on, but he is Papa Emeritus the Fourth at this point, I think.
Nice.
But they're a very interesting band because they have that metal crowd behind them, but their aesthetic is very metal and kind of like death and satanic-y, but the music doesn't necessarily match that look. So
yeah,
it's kind of an interesting combination, and it seems to be working for him. But all the art and everything is really cool. Oh,
the art is wonderful with these guys. I love their album covers.
Yeah.
And their logo is super cool.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not a huge fan, but this popped up probably 6-7 years ago, and it was a pretty cheap EP, so I got it. I don't buy a lot. I mean, it seems like bands are now more releasing EPs more than albums.
Yeah.
So a band might not put an album out for 2 or 3 years, but they may put a 3 or 4 or 5 song EP out.
I love that. There were a lot of EPs in the 80s also.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of coming back. That's kind of another interesting way for bands to release music. But Ghost, Popestar, give it a listen.
And get spooky.
Get spooky.
Speaking of spooky,
Yes.
the Crow soundtrack.
Oh, that's a good one. If I had it, I would have brought it.
Well, you got this one for me. You
I know.
picked it up.
Yeah. On Record Store Day.
Yeah, it
couple
was
years
one
ago.
I couldn't go to, and
Yeah.
Doug had it for me. So,
Yeah.
and it's not really a Halloween thing, but it is definitely spooky.
Yeah, the movie is definitely spooky, and obviously Brandon Lee died while shooting this movie, which gives it even more of a weird
it's
aura.
definitely one of those that is strange.
Yeah. But I always loved the songs that are on this. It's a really, really good soundtrack.
Yeah, they have. I mean, it's a good collection of bands that are doing some of their more spooky, ethereal songs. It definitely sets a mood.
Yeah. I actually never saw this whole movie. With all of the hype and everything and all the news when they were filming it and he was shot, I never saw it, but I've listened to the soundtrack many times.
Yeah, I really like this movie.
Yeah.
There's some great bands. I mean, Rollins Band, their version of Ghost Rider is phenomenal.
Violent Femmes, Rage,
Helmet,
Stone Temple Pilot, Helmet, Pantera.
This may be the only Pantera song I own.
Yeah. But it's a good one. Jesus and Mary Chain.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult.
Yep. It's a good one. It's a really great soundtrack. Now, like movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, more contemporary movies, have really taken that music and mixing it into the storyline.
Yeah.
But man, in the early 90s,
it wasn't done a bunch.
It wasn't done a bunch. I mean, this was done really well. Of course, the Tarantino films of the time.
Yeah, I think Tarantino recreated what music can be.
Yeah.
In a film.
Yeah, but that's a really good one, and that's actually a very highly sought after.
Yes, it is.
Album. I don't know what it's worth, but I'm sure it's worth more than you paid.
Yes, indeed.
That's a good one. That reminds me, I need to watch that movie.
You're up.
So I'm gonna do. I always think of Black Sabbath when I'm thinking of like spooky, ethereal type music. Well, I didn't bring Black Sabbath. I brought Zach Sabbath's newest record, and it's Doomed Forever, Forever Doomed. And this is Zach Wilde, Robert Blasco Nicholson on bass, and Joey Castillo on drums, who Joey Castillo has played with Danzig, Queens of the Stone Age. Blasco has played with Ozzy, Rob Zombie, and Zach Wilde has played with Ozzy and done his own thing, and Black Label Society forever. But it's a three-piece, and they're playing Sabbath songs, and man, he does a great job with them. So you've got War Pigs, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, Iron Man, Sweet Leaf, After Forever, Embryo, Children of the Grave, which is a highlight, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Rat Salad, Fairies Wear Boots, Orchid, Lord of This World, Solitude, and Into the Void. He's great. He's great. I don't love all of his Black Label Society stuff. Gets a little repetitive after a while, but to hear this music played by a trio like that, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, when you played a live cut before we started the show, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It is. And I think
I like they've kept everything very black.
Yeah, except the vinyl
red
is red.
Yeah, it's gonna be like blood.
Isn't that badass?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still not a color queen when it comes to vinyl, but it's a fun little distraction.
It's a great surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is great. They have another their first album is called Vertigo, and it's the same thing. Other Sabbath songs covered. So
nice.
I don't know, man. Is there anyone better to cover Black Sabbath songs than one of the guys that's been playing the music for last
you got to have
30
a guy.
years.
Yeah, if a guy's covering it, you might as well have one of the guy who's been doing it for
With
a while.
Ozzy, yeah. Damn, I'm having a really hard time with this. Zach Sabbath, Doomed Forever, Forever Doomed. I think if you check it out, you'd like it.
I know I'll like it.
What's next?
All right, this is actually the first one I thought of when we talked about the show. It's another collection, another soundtrack, The Lost Boys.
What a great... You know, my wife and I watched that movie like a year ago. She'd never seen it.
Oh, really?
And the movie, it's... Looking back, it's a little campy. It's a little goofy, but damn, the soundtrack is just really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's another one. This is from the 80s. Like, when was this?
87.
87. Yeah, this soundtrack was really done well. You got NXS and Jimmy Barnes. That's going to have a good time tonight. That's a great song. Echo and the Bunnymen.
They may even have... Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the music in the movie stands out.
Yeah,
for sure.
and the only song that's not on here is Mother.
Oh.
Because I think Danzig is actually, Glenn Danzig is actually doing a little concert, and the characters go to the concert.
Oh, really?
On the beach.
Oh, okay. And that he didn't somehow get that song cleared?
Yeah, it wasn't cleared.
Interesting.
I always thought it was on here, but it's not.
Huh.
It was in the movie, but it's not on the soundtrack.
Yeah. I forgot Echo and the Bunnymen did People Are Strange.
Yeah.
That's a good cover.
Oh, yeah. There's that's a good one to have on here, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Spooky Doors song.
Yeah. No, that's a great call. I have seen this many times when I flip through soundtracks at shows or stores and just never get it. But even I think it's worth the price of admission for that NXS song.
Yeah.
That's
great. Without a doubt.
Really great song.
The Good Times with Jimmy Barnes and NXS is probably, that was the number one single. Then Cry, Little Sister in 87. Yeah, everything came out in People Are Strange, the Echo and the Bunnymen cover, did not hit the single market until 88.
Mm-hmm.
And Lost in the Shadows is another one. And basically it's a show about teenagers turning into vampires.
Yeah.
So who doesn't love a good vampire flick?
Oh, yeah. A good vampire flick is really good. Kiefer Sutherland, like the main bad boy. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's great.
The Lost Boys.
I didn't bring any soundtracks.
Ooh.
Anthrax is another band that when I think of like monsters and zombies and comic book heroes, they're who I think of. And this is Worship Music. It's their 10th studio album, released on September 12, 2011. This is basically Joey Belladonna coming back to the band. So originally Joey was a singer. He left. John Bush took over for like 6 albums, and then John Bush left. Joey came in, and they originally recorded this album with another singer named Dan Nelson. And then when Joey came back to the band, they re-recorded it with Joey singing and probably made other
tweaks. That's cool.
Too. But I love the zombie.
Yeah, it's
cover.
All these albums we're going to throw up are spooky.
Yeah.
From the get-go. As soon as you put them up, it's like, ooh, that's kind of strange.
Yeah. And there's praying hands on the back with a rosary with the Anthrax logo on it. This album, I was a huge fan of the John Bush era of Anthrax. And then when things went south and Joey came back, I was not terribly excited because I prefer the John Bush era. But I heard this record when it came out, and it is fantastic. It's probably one of the best albums they've done in their career. And it's just great. I love it. Fight 'Em Till You Can't was the first single, The Devil You Know, In the End, which in the end is kind of like a tribute to Ronnie James Dio. Oh. It's really, really good. And then I'm Alive is the last single they released. So Anthrax is one of those bands, man. They're really into monsters and zombies and all of that stuff. So that aesthetic kind of makes it into their artwork and videos and all that stuff.
Yeah, so they're perfect for the Halloween show.
Absolutely. Zombies. Anthrax worship music, kiddos. Go get it and turn it up to 11.
Back to the collections. This was a Blood on the Cats. It's a it came out in 83, and it's kind of a psychobilly collection that is just off the wall. I mean, this is there's a little bit of everybody on this. You have Alien Sex Fiend, Bone Orchard.
Yep. Sunglasses After Dark, The Jazz Butcher.
Screamin' Lord Sutch has a great, what is that song called?
Murder in the Graveyard.
Yeah, Murder in the Graveyard. The Stingrays.
I thought it might be a Stray Cats tribute.
And, Tav Falco, Panther Burns is another, their version of a classic redheaded woman. So this thing has been reissued, of course. When was it reissued? It was reissued in 2022. And it's great to see these old collections reissued because people will discover new bands they haven't listened to. Mm-hmm. I mean, much the same way I was when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, on collections like this, you have usually a standout or marquee band, and then all others kind of fall below that. But it can be a really great way for you to get your music into the ears of a lot of people who probably wouldn't go pick your album out if they saw it at a store or show.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah, that's great.
And it's, punk, post-punk, new romantics, it's a hodgepodge of everything.
That's great. I love the artwork on it.
Yeah.
Apparently they aren't fans of cats.
No. It's I love it's a psychobilly collection, a collection of blood groups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Halloween, blood, they go together.
Yeah. Hand in glove.
And the warning is great. Not to be taken intravenously. That's the warning.
No, nobody needs any vinyl intravenously. Well, that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, be sure to check all of these things out. I mean, we'll be talking about some that you most definitely know, but don't be afraid to go out there and kind of give these a little spin, a little listen.
Yeah. It's fun.
That's a good one.
Blood on the Cats.
Well, I mean, it's a trope, but I think of the effect that not just the album Thriller, but the video for the song Thriller had on me when I was a kid. And, Michael really took it to the limit as far as cinematically in that video. And it is forever burned into my mind as, one of the songs about monsters and, Halloween and
it's
zombies.
I kind of figured you'd bring that. It almost needs to be in a Halloween show because it's one of those staples that it has to be there.
And he's obviously a fan of movies like that. And we've talked about this album before. I mean, Michael wanted every song to be killer, is what he said. And how many singles again? 7. You had The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, Wanna Be Startin' Something, Human Nature, PYT, Pretty Young Thing, and Thriller was actually the last song released from this. Almost.
Because how long was...
it was released...
No, how long was Thriller? It was a longer song, so that was probably why.
Yeah, that might have been why, but the album was released on November 29, 1982, and the song Thriller wasn't released until almost a year later on November 11th, 1983, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But you have an album like this that gets that much attention, sells that many copies. MTV was a thing at the time. I mean, all of it, everything converged for this to just explode. And, Thriller, you look at that video now, I mean, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
It really is. And I love Michael Jackson's early solo stuff. I actually like Off the Wall a little bit better than Thriller, but you cannot deny the talent here between Michael and the people who recorded this and Quincy Jones as producer. I mean, they were, they intended to release an album with nothing but hits, and they almost did it. So
they certainly did.
Yeah, you guys know the songs. We don't have to go through them, but Thriller, all-time standout Halloween type song. And it's got Vincent Price in them.
So it's a twofer.
Yeah. What's next up on your list?
Next is a little fun band called Sonic Youth and Bad Moon Rising. And Bad Moon Rising is the second studio album by Sonic Youth. And it came out in 1985. And it's on Homestead Records. That was another label that I could depend on having music I liked. I'm not sure where Homestead was based.
Huh. It says New York.
New York. That makes sense. I think they were from the East Coast. Yeah. The album is loosely themed around the dark side of America, including references to obsession and insanity, Charles Manson, heavy metal, Satanism, and early European settlers' encounters with Native Americans.
Side 2 starts off with Ghost Bitch.
That's a great song.
Yeah. Sonic Youth is just before my time and has kind of always been a blind spot for me.
The last song is Death Valley 69 with Lydia Lunch, who she's different.
So you got a scarecrow with a pumpkin head on fire on the cover there.
I love this cover.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I was never a massive Sonic Youth fan.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite Sonic Youth cover.
Oh, that's cool. Which of theirs is this? Third?
The second.
Second. Okay.
So this was early in their releases.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing had, let's see if they had some singles. Death Valley 69, which is the Manson thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Flowers / Halloween, which, that song has been covered by a bunch because it's, Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Halloween 2, Flowers, there's another single, Flowers / Satan is boring. Boring Satan.
I know. He's such a boring dude.
And its style, that Sonic Youth, if you've never listened to Sonic Youth, they have this chiming guitar that is just, nobody else has that sound.
Mm-mm. Very distinctive.
Yeah, it's a very distinctive sound.
Yeah. And like I said, they're just a little before me, and I just didn't slide in with them, but definitely need to go back and revisit some Sonic Youth.
Yeah, it's been described as noise rock, no wave, experimental rock.
No wave. I love no wave.
Yeah, no wave. It's their way to, hey, we're not new wave, we're no wave.
That's cool. That's a good one, man. They are a band that is revered and loved,
Oh yeah.
And who? Yeah.
It's Thurston.
Thurston was the guitar.
Thurston Moore and Kim Gordon were married.
Right.
They've since split, but everything they accomplished as Sonic Youth Sonic Youth has influenced scads of bands.
Oh yeah. Kim Gordon, when my wife and I saw the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2014 for my 40th, Kim Gordon played with Nirvana. They had Kim Gordon, Lord, and Joan Jett, and I think St. Vincent.
Oh,
come out, and each of them did a song with Nirvana, which was very cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But that's great, man. We don't talk about Sonic Youth that often.
No.
So that's a good one.
I need to get, I've got another album by Sonic Youth, but I need to really increase my Sonic Youth collection.
There you go.
It's a blind spot. You're up. What are you going to scare us with next?
Well,
what's on the list?
These are out of order. I don't know if I've talked about The Last Temptation of Alice Cooper before. This came out in 1994 on Epic. The great thing is the first single off this is Lost in America, and that is one of my favorite, like more recent. I mean, I say more recent, it's 30 years old, but one of my favorite, more contemporary Alice songs. So there's a song called Stolen Prayer and Unholy War. Both of those Chris Cornell sings along with Alice. This is Alice kind of regaining his footing in the mid-90s when grunge has happened, and I've always loved the artwork and everything. This is obviously my MOV version of it. There's Alice's eye on the back. But
we had to have Alice.
Oh, I've got so many Alice Cooper records I could have brought, but yeah, this is one that I really do like. I think the production is great, the music and the lyrics are all good. Everything kind of came together for this. This is kind of a undiscovered corner of his discography. So if you haven't heard it, go out there and give it a listen. It's The Last Temptation by Alice Cooper.
Alice has a lot of releases.
He does. I mean, he's prodigious. I mean, he's been doing it since the late 60s.
Yeah. So. And it's not like the quality has fallen off. It's just music has changed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he continues to put out albums and do tours and do all that stuff. So what's next for you?
Well, let's keep it scary in the vampire world. And we got to have Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi's Dead. And this is the 12-inch single because that song is almost 10 minutes long.
That's a long one.
It's a long one. And it came out in 79, and the B-side is Boys, but Bela Lugosi's the one. I love that song. Sorry, Tony. Tony Philpott put up, he just watched The Hunger, and he's like, Bela Lugosi's a dumb song. It doesn't say much other than Bela Lugosi's dead. Bela Lugosi's dead. And, it drones on for 10 minutes. So
sounds like it's right up your alley.
It's right up my alley. I love it.
Do you have other Bauhaus stuff?
Oh, yeah. I've got a slew of Bauhaus stuff.
Yeah.
And this was recorded live in the studio in a single take during a 6-hour session at Beck Studios in Wellingborough.
Cool.
And it's the first... Oh, it was the first recorded work after the band had formed, 6 weeks after they formed.
Huh.
So that's pretty fast.
Just dive right into
we're going to dive right in.
Dive right into recording it live. I like that.
And the guy, the lead vocalist behind Bauhaus is Peter Murphy, and he's gone on to do tons of offshoots. He's done his own solo stuff, but Bauhaus is where he really got his start.
I've never really dug into Bauhaus.
It's one of those things, it's definitely goth, and it's one of those things, it's not for everybody.
Right. Well, that's cool, man. I like it. I like the, it almost looks like a vampire is attacking them or something, or a bat.
Yeah.
Or something.
It's creepy.
Yeah. Cool.
It looks like somebody kind of made the album cover in their basement.
I love it. That's great, man. See, just when when else are we going to talk about Bauhaus, right?
Never.
Yeah. So that's a great thing about doing these themed shows. Any other Bauhaus BS?
The original 12-inch was released on white vinyl with a limited edition of 5,000 copies. I don't think this is the original. Let's find out. Yep, it's black. What's next for you, Jay?
Well, you can't talk about spooky songs and Halloween without the zombies, right? And I have mentioned them before, and the Animals and the Kinks. Those bands are so singular in the way that they sound. Even in the midst of the British invasion, they managed to like carve out that little space for themselves. I think just because they sound so interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously, this has all the great Zombies tunes. She's Not There, which I think is absolutely a classic. You Make Me Feel Good, Tell Her No, Leave Me Be, She's Coming Home, I Want You Back Again, Whenever You're Ready. You know, that you just can't go wrong with any of it. And I love the picture of these guys. Just got the skinny ties and the black suits, and they're ready to take over the world.
Yeah, maybe not a scary cover, but it says zombies on the cover. So
yeah, so yeah. They are the zombies.
They fit.
Yeah, they're just. I think that they're still touring.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think obviously not everybody from the original group, but I'm pretty sure they're still touring. And if they come anywhere around here, I'd love to go see them. Because
She's Not There that's for sure Halloween.
Oh yeah.
That goes on the Halloween playlist.
Yeah, it's a great song. And again, it just sounds so different from so much that would have like come out around it.
Yeah.
And I do love the artwork on this.
Yeah, it's really super cool.
Yeah. So I left the cellophane on it. I haven't cut that damn sticker out yet.
Yeah.
What is next? I see it there.
Yes. You know, it's got to be, you knew these guys were going to show up, the Misfits. And this is the Misfits. There's so many Misfits albums out there. And for whatever reason, they're another band that was not really on my radar back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't have like a major label support.
No.
They were kind of an independent, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were more of the logo may be more popular than the band.
Yeah. I mean, it's identifiable for sure.
Yeah. You see people, I don't care, definitely at record shows, always somebody with a Misfits shirt.
Yeah. They've kind of had a revival the last few years with Glenn going back to them and them playing, I don't know if they're farewell shows or reunion shows, but they're selling a lot of tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those T-shirts and posters and stuff obviously did the job because
works.
You see people with more and more T-shirts, and they're playing pretty big venues.
Yeah. And this collection came out in 86, but a lot of the songs were recorded in 79, 78, 80, 81, 83, 85. And I love the genre. Horror punk, hardcore punk, or just punk rock.
Horror punk.
Horror punk. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And that kind of sums up who the Misfits are.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you hear the songs, I'll have to put on my cheating glasses so I can read. She, Hollywood Babylon, Horror Business, Teenagers from Mars, Night of the Living Dead. And really, I think the Night of the Living Dead remake kind of put them,
back on
the radar for people who'd never heard of them.
Yeah. So, again, movies and music.
But I mean, there's tons of stuff like Ghouls Night Out, London Dungeon, Astro Zombies. It just goes on and on.
That's great.
Yeah, so they're fun. The Misfits.
Yeah, I have no Misfits.
I need to get more. You don't see a lot, or you see them with, like, this one pops up a lot, or you see collections that are very similar to this.
I have no Misfits. I have no Glenn Danzig.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's definitely a blind spot.
Yeah.
The horror punk genre.
Horror punk genre. What do you got to scare us next?
Well, my wife loves The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I do too.
And a lot of people do. It's kind of an interesting combination of two holidays. Of course, scored by Danny Elfman.
Yes.
The movie is a classic. And our friend Michael Young sent me a picture of this. This is a zoetrope vinyl. So if you can look at it with your eye, but it actually works better with an iPhone or something. But you put the record on your record player. What's the dog's name? Zero?
I think it is Zero.
But if you record video with your phone, this spins and it's like a movie.
Oh.
It's like yeah.
Now that is super cool.
Yeah, and there's 2 discs and the music's on there and it is super cool. I'm seeing more and more of these zoetrope vinyl releases and you just got to see it. It's very neat.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a new way to experience the soundtrack. Just a little niche there. But Michael sent that to me. And he sent me a video of it, of the thing spinning. I'm like, well, that is so cool. And then, like, the next day I went to Walmart and I saw this. I'm like, give me that.
I'm going to take that. Yeah. That's got to be mine.
Yep. So check out not just this one, but any of those zoetrope vinyl releases. I think Iron Maiden is releasing a zoetrope of Power Slave for the 40th anniversary of Power Slave, and that's their album that's got the Egyptian Eddie on it. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that too.
That's really, I had not heard about that. That's
really
cool.
Imagine that the record industry found another way to, like, just burrow into our wallets.
Yeah, and that is a colored vinyl that I would seek out.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's really cool. Kind of a novelty almost, but really, really neat.
Yeah, I really want, there's a cover version of this whole album with bands, not just, psycho punk bands covering it, but different bands covering the music from that. And it's really, really good. It's one of those things that is definitely on my whale list, but I just haven't been able to find it anywhere.
You know what it's called? Doesn't have a goofy name. We'll have to.
I don't think so. We'll find out.
We can do a post.
Yeah.
We should let people know, like, what records we're looking for. I mean, there are plenty of people out there, and everybody goes to shows and record stores, and you never know what you're going to see. I've always got in the back of my mind some things that people are looking for.
Yeah.
To just keep an eye out. But yeah, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, zoetrope vinyl. If you see one of those zoetropes, check it out.
Pick it up.
That's very cool.
All right, so next on the hit parade for me, Ministry. And good old Al Jorgensen. This is a much different Ministry than the band set out to be.
Right.
And because the record company and the A&R guys tried to pigeonhole Al into this new wave sound, Al wasn't having anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And I've heard, because their first album was kind of that new wave sound, and I've heard, I know Al hates it, but I've heard he's going to re-record it in the current iteration of Ministry.
So more industrial metal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Much more industrial and metal.
Al Jorgensen, very interesting dude. I think he just put a biography out.
Yeah.
Recently, and I've heard it's very good.
Yeah, so. He's the kind of the poster child for the record company has shifted somebody around, and this is what he's going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's cool.
Probably the big song
that's
on
beefy.
here. Yeah,
it's
it's a double. So the big song on here, Every Day is Halloween, and it's another collection of 12-inch singles. Mm-hmm. But Every Day is Halloween is the song you want to hear on here.
Yeah, that's cool. I have no Ministry. I'm never really been a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, there obviously would be no Nine Inch Nails without Ministry.
No.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's never really been my thing, but you never know. You listen to something a few years after you first hear it, you got brand new ears, you just may love it.
Yeah, and I didn't bring any Nine Inch Nails because we've talked about them a bunch, but I mean, you can pick up any Nine Inch Nail song from any album. It's like, oh, that's a good Halloween song.
That's true. Same thing with Ministry, though.
Yeah.
Except for the first album.
So this song came out in '85, and dark wave. There's another one. They're kind of dark wave, synth pop, industrial.
Yeah.
And it was on another label you can trust out of Chicago, Wax Trax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely heard of them. That's great. This one's on Cleopatra Records, which
this may have been a re-release.
Yeah.
Because this is really talking about the original 12-inch was released on Wax Trax.
That's cool. Awesome. I like the artwork. It looks very classic and clean.
Yeah. And this is one of those that I think this collection came out during COVID, and it was another one that was really hard to get. And it's one of those I ordered online. It showed up 9 months later.
Special treat that you forgot about.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Giving Ministry some love.
Yeah, we got to mix it up.
I like it.
You're up. What spooky thing do you have next?
Well, White Zombie. What else can you say? Astro Creep 2000, Songs of Love, Destruction, and Other Synthetic Delusions of the Electric Head. That's the actual full title. It's the fourth and final studio album by heavy metal band White Zombie, released April 11, 1995. More Human Than Human is the one on this, is my MOV version of this. This sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
More Human Than Human is the big one. And obviously his artwork is all over this. But man, when this came out, this was on everywhere.
Oh yeah.
This was the song. And it was highly anticipated due to the surprise success of their previous release, La Sexorcisto, Devil Music Volume 1. They have 3 singles from this: More Human Than Human, Electric Head Part 2, The Ecstasy, and Supercharger Heaven. And they, their music is that driving beat and that crunchy guitar, and there's always like cars involved, and it's interesting that they became as big as they did. But I've always said, I mean, he's a great artist, multiple kinds of art, painting, sculpture. He directs movies, obviously makes music, but their whole career is probably very much due to the popularity of those episodes of Beavis and Butthead where they were talking about White Zombie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that it just introduced, it's a different kind of music, but I think it being on those cartoons just slid it in there, and it just kind of became a part of pop culture.
Yeah.
And, good for him. Good for Rob Zombie, because there's nothing else that sounds like them. I mean,
no.
There are definitely bands that have attempted to, but La Sexorcisto and this one, they are one of a kind. for sure.
And Rob is touring with Alice Cooper.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a show's happening the end of this month, which I'm going to be out of town for. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go.
I think they call it Freaks on Parade.
Yeah.
When they tour together. But yeah, White Zombie, man, the Los Exorcisto in this one, you can't go wrong for sure. And it's good. I mean, it's good driving music for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're like hanging around the house and you just want something a little more upbeat with a really kind of good drive behind it, put on some White Zombie, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, it wouldn't be a Halloween show without a Halloween collection. Halloween Hootenanny.
Love it.
On Zombie A Go-Go Records. And to tie it in, that's Rob Zombie's label.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so...
it's spookophonic.
Yeah, it's spookophonic. It's fun for all ages. This is like those old collections that used to come out, like a K-Tel collection that every kid would have in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. I think I got this through...
I think you've talked about it before.
Yeah, I think I got it through. It's not just... Zombie A Go-Go is a division of maybe even Sony or somebody.
Did you get it from a comic book, like Newberry Comics or something
Maybe.
like that? Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love it. I love all the artwork, all the 60s, like, looking girls. Reverend Horton Heat, Zachary, Rob Zombie, featuring the Ghastly Ones. Satan's Pilgrims, Frenchie, Rocket from the Crypt.
Rocket from the Crypt, there's another one, yeah.
Swinging Neck Breakers. Oh, those Straitjackets are on here. Cool. Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Yeah, it's a fun Halloween-themed album. You can put this on and let the trick-or-treaters be a little spooked.
Yeah, I think this may be a good contender for our thumbnail. Because you got Wolfman, right?
Yeah.
Frankenstein and the Mummy. Yeah. It's the triumvirate.
Yeah. The only one missing is the vampire.
Yeah. That's
cool.
Okay. Well, we'll have to listen to this after the show. So is it like produced by Rob Zombie?
It's a collection that is curated, I think, by Rob Zombie.
Cool. Yeah. Well, there is nothing wrong with 2 Rob Zombie records in a row.
We got to double up.
Yeah, we got to double. I like it.
Yes.
That's a really good one.
Halloween Hootenanny.
Well, I've talked about Iron Maiden a lot, and I just got this. I haven't even opened this one. I've got Somewhere in Time on vinyl. I think I had to order it from Europe. and then it became available in the US. But I was walking through Walmart, probably buying milk and socks, and looked over at the records and saw Somewhere in Time on gold vinyl, and I'm like, I've got to have it. Anyway, this is the 6th studio album from Iron Maiden, released September 1986. First single was Wasted Years, and Stranger in a Strange Land is the other single from this. Somewhere in Time is the first studio album following the extensive world slavery tour from Power Slave in 84-85, which was physically a huge tour. It was 331 days long, 187 concerts. And that resulting exhaustion is credited as the main factor in the complete lack of songwriting contributions from lead vocalist Bruce Dickinson, whose material was rejected by the rest of the band. Anyway, Wasted Years is like, if Iron Maiden had a hit, that would be the one, and it's from this album. And I love the different looks that Eddie, their face, their character always takes on, and right here he looks like, a bounty hunter from the future.
That's cool.
Which is very cool. So, I mean, they've always been a very visual band from
Oh, yeah.
Album covers for sure, but also their live shows are really, really spectacular.
The Giant Eddie is always a part of it.
Yeah. But when I was coming up with the list in my head, I'm like, I've either got to take, No Prayer for the Dying or Fear of the Dark or Somewhere in Time, and Somewhere in Time won out. But they're a phenomenon. I mean, they're more popular than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And never been played on radio.
Yeah. That's even more strange.
Yeah. I mean, I think
everybody knows who the band is, but they haven't had a radio hit.
But it's kind of like the Misfits thing too. The T-shirts, and then I think Wasted Years, the video got played on MTV, at least on Headbangers Ball, and they have benefited from the T-shirts and the word of mouth and and all of that. So, but if you've never seen Iron Maiden, make sure you do. I don't know how much longer they're going to be doing it. What's your next spooky?
This will be my last one. It's another collection. Hell Comes to Your House. I mean, that kind of just sets it up. This came out in 1981, and good old Orange County, California, another hotbed of collections. And it's a punk compilation of death rock and punk from Southern California. There's a Christian death song, Dogs, Red Cross, who they were
Canada.
They were on SST.
Yep.
But this is what did I say? What the label was? These are pretty. There's 45 Grave. This may have been where I originally found out about 45 Grave.
Bemis Brain Records is what it says.
Yeah, it was probably just one of those little one-off.
And it says marketed by Enigma Records, a
division
of Enigma Entertainment Corporation.
So Enigma was another one of those labels that had tons of bands that appealed to me.
Yeah, that's great.
But Social Distortion's on here too.
Oh, Social D. How can you go wrong with them? What song? Mommy's Little Monster or something?
Lewd Boy and Telling Them.
Yep.
Daddy's Gone Mad. Puss in Boots.
Nice.
What else is a big one on here? Well, there's no big ones. I mean, the 45 Grave and 100 Flowers and Christian Death are kind of the bands that really took off from that. And Social Distortion, I mean.
Yeah, Social D, man. They're another one. I've seen them a lot. That's cool. I love the ones that you brought. They're just off kilter, which we've come to expect that.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect anything else. A lot of collections, but I mean, collections are fun.
Yeah, they're fun, and you think back to that headspace. Then, of course, you're going to listen to this. There's 15 songs or 14 songs on here, and you can choose who you want to spend your money on. And
it's that Halloween vibe.
Right.
Halloween's probably my favorite holiday.
Yeah. Well, I could tell by the mask you had on.
Yeah.
Earlier. Well, when I think of dressing up, I think of Gwar, Scum Dogs of the Universe. And Gwar, I think there's two types of people in the world, but people that like Gwar and people who don't. And if you get the joke, they're very sarcastic, very silly lyrics, and obviously they're shooting blood and other things at people in their audience at their shows. But Scum Dogs is the second album by Gwar, by satirical heavy metal band Gwar. The album is their first on Metal Blade Records and was released January 8th, 1990. And, what else can you say about Gwar? I mean, Dave Brockie was kind of the leader, the singer, and he passed away, I think, almost 10 years ago. And the band's gone on. But I already had like a 20th or 25th anniversary version of this, but then I saw this on, I don't know, it popped up social media or something, Revolver magazine, and I'm like, Scum Dogs? Yes, please. Then,
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good back cover.
Yeah. It's Vlad the Impaler, Slaughterama, King Queen, Horror of Yig, Love Surgery, Sexecutioner, Cool Place to Park. They make me laugh.
Yeah, that's
very, very much so. It's very much over the top. He used to like when Dave Brockie was still alive, he would show up like on CNN as Odorous Urungus, the character he plays in Guar, like on a CNN interview show, and they'll interview him. I mean, just really, really fun, really off the beaten path type stuff. And, just kind of taking a little of the seriousness out of heavy metal because, most of it may not be serious. And, some people maybe don't like that or take it a little too seriously. But, in any of the Dave Brockie era Guar records are definitely worth a listen. And just their visual, is cool. And it always has been. It's definitely the reason we're still talking about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But that's the fun thing is finding all these bands kind of hidden in your collection that you might not necessarily go and pull out and listen to all the time. And, collections are a great way to get familiar with bands that you're not. And the other way to do that is to talk to us on our social medias, right?
Yeah. Give us your Halloween list.
Yeah, give us your favorite Halloween list or your spooky playlist that you want to put together. Also, make sure you go to our YouTube page and check out all of those little video morsels that we've got there for you. There's a whole bunch of them, and they look great, thanks to Jacob Hansen and Keith Toombs helping us out with all this stuff. We want you to communicate with us with a mask in front of your face or not. Let us know what shows you want us to do. Let us know what unboxings you'd like to see. And please, when you see those shorts come in the shorts feed on YouTube, watch it and like it and comment on it. Right, John?
Absolutely.
And like we said, any show ideas you have, please come at us with those. And it's been fun. It's been a good time.
It's been good.
Little different color on the set.
Yeah, a little spooky stuff going on.
Yeah, we got some pumpkins.
We've been trick or treating already.
all they gave us was paydays. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for sharing your music with us, Wheels. That's Wheels. I'm Jay, and we'll see you all the next time around.
It's a final adventure.